It's already been almost 2 years since the Netflix adaptation of Death Note was released into their streaming platform. Before that, a lot of the anime community was in speculation that someone like Zac Efron will be portraying the self-righteous Light Yagami on the big screen. Nobody really knew who was going to take on the movie adaptation, and I'm sure a lot of us did not expect Netflix, out of all companies, to take on the project. Personally, I was kinda iffy about Netflix since they're not really backed by hundreds of millions of dollars like Warner Brothers or Disney Studios. But one thing's for sure, we all knew anime to live action movies were always going to flop, like Dragon Ball Evolution for example. And it's only up till the new recently released movie Alita Battle Angel do we get a somewhat decent anime to live action movie adaptation. But what if the Death Note movie adaptation didn't flop? What if by chance Netflix was smart enough to adopt a somewhat hidden novel that was published back in 2008? A novel that has never seen an anime or even an audio adaptation. What if Death Note was actually Death Note, Another Note, the Los Angeles BB murder cases? I'm sure by now everyone's seen Netflix's adaptation of Death Note. When news arrived, everyone was pretty much pissed that they localized the names to fit American audiences' generic tastes. Instead of the infamous name Light Yagami, they went with Light Turner. L was racially changed to black even though he was originally of English descent, and Misa was changed to this overly confident girl named Mia instead of her submissive dim-witted self from the manga. But because Netflix insisted on these drastic changes to the characters, as well as the story itself, it inevitably was met with negative reviews and backlash from the core fans of the original series. If I had to take anything good out of this adaptation, I would say William Dafoe's Ryuk and L himself, even though he wasn't accurate in terms of personality or looks. But there's one way Netflix could have made this a box office hit. One way. They could have adopted a property that has never seen the light of day in terms of cinema or animation. One way that they could have made countless sequels to and connect the original Death Note movies from 2006. This property that I'm talking about is a novel that goes by the name of Death Note, Another Note, the Los Angeles BB murder cases. A prequel to the original Death Note story, a story before Light became Kira, a story mainly focused on Naomi Misura and her time in Los Angeles, California, and a story where we get to see L's uncatched equal before Light came to be. I'm talking about Beyond Birthday, or most notably known as BB. BB, who was raised in the same orphanage as L. He was one of the original letters that was supposed to take up the mantle as one of the world's greatest, but diverted from his path to challenge L in a game of murder mystery. He would purposely kill and leave clues so complex that L had to resort to calling Naomi Misura for help on this case. Upon reading this novel, you'll eventually find that his characteristics resembles that of L's. There's concept art drawn, but not official artwork as how he appears. This story is the perfect setting for Death Note in America. Even though it has nothing to do with the actual Death Note notebook or any of the gods of death, this at least would have made the fans really happy. Not only would this be a unique movie to its name, it would be the first time we the fans would see L facing a terrifying rival that came from the same orphanage. We would have gotten a really good background story explaining Whammy's house and how Beyond Birthday came to be. There's so much potential in the story that it kind of pains me to say that Netflix really missed the mark with this one. This could have potentially made Death Note mainstream just like Game of Thrones if done correctly. Or maybe not. Either way, it is a story that we the fans would have loved to have seen being played out on the big screen. A big advantage to adapting this Death Note story instead of changing and adapting the original story is that you don't need to change anything. The story itself is easy and feasible. You don't need a practical suit for the actor to play Ryuk since Gods of Death play no role in this story. You don't even have to worry about localizing Light or Misa because they're not even a part of the story since it's based way before the events of the original story. And since it's literally based in LA, this could have been easily accessible and easy to film. The story is just a murder mystery thriller, so the budget wouldn't even have been that much. Naomi Misura could have kept her name since Asian Americans are a commonality in California, and L doesn't even need to show his face since his means of communication is through a laptop. Even though he does appear in front of Naomi at the end of the novel, they could shoot him from the chin down as a post-credits scene. There's so many things they could have done with this story. But no. They went with the original story. Hell, even an original Death Note story that happens after the events of the original story would have been a good movie adaptation instead of using the original characters from the anime. Not only would it expand the Death Note universe, it would have shown how Kira influenced a lot of people around the world. We could have even gotten a new Shinigami end story, but no. And it's more than likely that the sequel to the god-awful Netflix Death Note movie is not going to be any better than the first one. Anyways, I had to get this off my chest. It's kind of been building up since the announcement of the Netflix adaptation. So why not make this into a rant-like video, you know? I kind of wish I was the director, because I could literally make this a good American adaptation instead of what we got. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching and have a great weekend, everyone.